I forget, how's the... I missed one. Because this should be orange, 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 green, black. There we go. So this would be the concept of that. And then there's that. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's make this. I just had a moment to think. Granted the chance, I'm not taking all this for granted, but I still can't stand it. The question why your life was taken, why always mistaken. I swore you'd be the last one out. Let's see here. Could you make you can. That requires a custom sprite. The way that will work is you would get like you'd have to know assembly code. You'd have to find what the code is for the swamp sprite, and then make it so that the top functions similar to one of the falling platforms. Would be the best way to do that as far as I can think of. Alright, so and then... It's probably a fairly easy one, and I'm sure someone's already done it, actually. I just am not the one who's done that. I'm not particularly proficient when it comes to writing an assembly. We've reached the time. The question why. Pass the bottle while we all fall down. Alright, so this would be my swamp platform. Save as X graphics 96. Yes. Overwrite. So what you do is then you come in here and you quick insert the X graphics. Yes, I know. And then for this, I'm gonna have to go to just a regular overworld level. And then I'm gonna have to make some new tiles. So this will show you a couple of new things. I'm gonna just make them act like 130, and I'm gonna make it just a block. I'm not gonna turn it into a sprite because, like I said, I'm not very good at that. So now we go to, this is the wrong one, this guy. This will bypass the regular graphics things. We'll insert some extra X graphics. BG2. Black eye. Where's my 9s? Oh, because it's still trying to read it from the other folder. File. File. Open ROM. No. So let's go to the one that I'm actually working with here. Quick insert. So now, go here. bypass so I can include extra graphics here. And then this goes all the way up to 96 here instead, as you can see. So now this would be where we use our 8x8 window that I wasn't using earlier. And see, it's got all these beautiful tiles here. So 200, 201, 210, 211, etc. So we need to go, oops, 200, 201, 210, 211. So 8x8. Flip these XYs. Go back into this. 220, 221, 230, 231. And then flip X. So that's all I needed the 8 for. Alright, so next thing we do is, as we did before here, we're going to go in and we're going to make this. Well, first I need to skip forward this song. Lottery. One, two, three, four. That's already palette 4. So what I'm doing right now is going to mess up other graphics. It just will, unfortunately. Maybe hard-coded by SM. Palette 3. Palette 3. There we go, that's what I was doing wrong. So, and then so you'd have something like this, where you have stone, and then it's sitting here on top of what looks like an old piece of stone. So, save. So that saves the tile set. And then we would go into wherever the heck I put that. Since I wasn't really paying much attention, I just made it in a spot that was open. And so then you would place it, and then see it will function like a stone block. But because I was screwing with that exact palette, if there's any concrete blocks, which there are somewhere in the level, I think. Oh, hey, there aren't. That makes things great. Oh, but there is the gray pipe. Doesn't look too bad. Let's do this. Because it's not going to hurt. The blomp's still going to look fairly gray. But yeah, so you can do that, and then you can have all kinds of fun with that. You can make blocks like this for anything. Yeah, it is complicated when you start making sprites. People who are good at it, though, it's piece of cake. I'm not one of those people. But yeah, so this is a thing that has become more popular in recent times, is making these pseudo vanilla things, which is kind of similar to what I was doing, but in a different fashion. Because, I overwrote my own graphics. Oh well, this has been moved anyway. This is all just tinkered with. Yes, yes, yes. But yeah, so those are kind of some things you can do with Lunar Magic. You'll see a lot of people doing those nowadays. If you look at things that happened in 2010 and look at things that happened in 2017, they're much fancier. It's interesting though how much longevity a game like this has when it has such a flexible editor. And this is exactly why I'm now going to switch gears. I'm gonna... Sure, whatever. Yeah, whatever. I don't care. Um, I'm gonna take this time now to get a little upset at a certain company, because here's the thing. As you can see, there's a whole bunch of flexibility and freedom that comes into this that's way, way beyond anything you would ever see in Mario Maker, or anything you would see even in some of the other phenomenal editors, such as Super Mario Bros. X, which I absolutely love Super Mario Bros. X despite its limitations, because there's a lot of cool things that it as well can do. Lunar Magic to me is still one of the most amazing tools as far as level design for someone who's never made their own game and is trying to kind of get into exploring. They have the comfortable physics of a game like Super Mario World, which to me has much better physics than Super Mario Bros. 3. Because you're a little bit more slippery and slidey in Super Mario Bros. 3, and I don't really like that because you slide off platforms a lot. The comfort of the physics in Super Mario World are amazing. And I really, really appreciate the engine. And I really think that it is, like one of the most iconic platformer games of all time. I mean, that's probably a little hard to argue with because people still play it so much to this day. But here's the thing. If I put this on YouTube, which I probably will, and I were to have any type of monetization on my channel, it'd be pulled immediately from that video. If you have certain animations from the new Pokemon games on your videos, sometimes they'll get pulled automatically, and you won't ever even be able to do anything with it. So there are people who've had to make like custom animations that just kind of override the original animation so it never shows up, so they don't have their videos pulled. Nintendo has started going, well, not started, they've been doing it for a long time now. They're so obsessed with the idea of protecting their intellectual property that they're hurting their own market. I know a lot of people who don't support Nintendo nearly as much as they used to now, because of the fact that they're so miserly about their materials. Don't you think that if something like this Super Mario World editor were maybe not endorsed by Nintendo, but at least they, encourage the creativity of using their products, not necessarily without, or you don't have to make money off of it. Because, if you look at some of the hacks that are out there, there's some amazing level designers who've done some phenomenal things just with what is basically this engine and learning assembly code, which means I guess you can make the engine whatever you want. In one sense or another, I guess you can look at some of the things that Outcast played as a demonstration of that. But the caustic nature of the way they've been so obsessive about protecting their intellectual property, banning the animations for Z-moves from being in videos that they haven't given permission to, among other things, it really creates this atmosphere where you don't really feel like you want to support Nintendo. That's why I don't play Nintendo games on here very much. There are several Nintendo games I would love to demonstrate. I'd love to do the Paper Mario games. I'd love to go through and play Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie, which I guess I still kind of can, because now it's owned by Microsoft, which isn't nearly as miserly about that kind of stuff. I'd love to go through and play Diddy Kong Racing just a little bit, demonstrate a few things in that, demonstrate a few things in Super Smash Bros. Melee that I always found fun that seems like nobody does. Just go through and play all these games that I adored and played so much of as a kid. Air Ride, Kirby Air Ride, oh my god, Kirby 64. the original Super Mario World, Super Mario RPG. There are so many games that I adore and I love, and I would love to demonstrate on this channel, but I just don't know that I can. It makes it so much difficult for me as a creator to use those forms of media when it's so much easier to use independent media where those people are looking for that promotion. They're looking for people to enjoy their game and say what's great about it. They want people to share it. That's not the only reason that I do the indie games all the time. I mostly do that because I feel like smaller games need their own chance to be promoted, which I've kind of been slacking at lately because it seems like I've been doing a lot of bigger name games with the kind of in the middle. Every once in a while I'll do one or two, like Dust right now is less well known. I think a lot of people know of it though. But that's the main reason I do it. But when it comes time to do things with a Nintendo game, I'm always extremely wary because I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to have my videos pulled. I don't want to get strikes on my channel. And so I kind of avoid it if I can. Shin's really into wanting to play Star Fox 64 and stuff like that, but I automatically become wary every time I have to put one of those videos on YouTube. It's really bad that the company that I, as a child, was 100% behind. I never owned a Sega system. I owned a PlayStation only after I was 12, maybe older than that. I was a lot older by the time I had a PlayStation. I was a Nintendo kid all the way through. I've owned every Nintendo system up until the Wii. I didn't get the Wii U because that's when I started hearing some of the controversies, and the system was very expensive. So I would love to do something with a lot of those properties that I think were so great and I loved as a kid and I still remember fondly. But Nintendo's made it so difficult for me to ever even try. And so that's part of why you don't see me do this, and that's why I kind of went to the very extreme and I used Lunar Magic to demonstrate it, because Lunar Magic is such a phenomenal tool that really has brought out the creativity in a lot of people, and I really appreciate the things it's done. It kind of inspired a second wave of my pixel art, with my third wave being the stuff that I have on my DeviantArt now. It really brought out that in me, and I know it's affected a lot of other people having this really flexible level editor tool that is far more flexible and can do so many more things than Mario Maker, a game made by the company that has all of the options to be able to do whatever you want. And they made the jumping physics really janky in it. They added in a bunch of like almost meme-ish kind of things. They encouraged a lot of these like hard hack type of levels that a lot of people just play to torture themselves. You can still have all of that. Every single... Someone made Never Gonna Give You Up by Rick Astley into an animated video and put it on Super Mario World Central at one point. I mean, you can do all of that in Lunar Magic, and with some assembly code, sprite tool, block tool, YYCHR, and just a couple of other little small programs that all work together so much more comfortably. And it's an engine that has better physics. It has much more cohesive musical style that kind of matches what's playing really well. You can include sprites from any game, basically. If someone can think of how to make it and put it in Super Mario World, you can. I've seen Flood. I've seen every single Super Mario Bros. 3 sprite. I've seen every single Super Mario Bros. 2 sprite. I mean, you can do everything with this engine. And between it and Super Mario Bros. X, it really makes the Mario Maker pale in comparison. People really like it because it's kind of Nintendo's endorsement of making your own levels, but it's so weak and so limited compared to the things that other people made for free. So that's kind of my angry rant at Nintendo in the middle of all of this, but I really felt like it's a frustration that's been coming to mind a lot when I've been debating what to do. The games that I would most likely be able to play on my own are going to either